All right, we're live. All right, so now I'm
Okay.
gonna paste the link in a couple places. And sweet. Okay, so there your picture popped up, so that's perfect.
Okay.
And we can wait a couple minutes for people to join. I don't know how to see that people have joined, but 2 people are waiting. Ooh,
Okay.
I can hear myself.
Oh, is there an echo?
Okay, sorry, I figured it out. Too many windows open. Okay, so we'll go ahead and I'll get started. It is Feedback Friday. I'm Jennifer McNeil. I am going to be hosting this with Katie Lintern. And Katie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I am based out of Collingwood, Ontario. So I'm up in the Great White North, and I've been in business for 5+ years now, over 5 years. I do a mix of family, newborn, maternity, and I do both studio sessions and lifestyle and in-home and outdoor. So I kind of have a blend of everything. Yeah, and recently crowned APNPI, no, crowned is the wrong term. APNPI judge. So it's quite an honor, but yeah, because
Awesome.
I think only about 4 years ago I actually got my QNP designation. So I'm pretty happy to be here. Yeah.
Cool, that's great. And so you said you do studio and outdoor on location sessions. How do you find like blending the two and like keeping your style consistent, or is it completely different?
It's pretty different, but I think it took me a long time to get to the point where I could actually like cohesively show it on, my website and my Instagram primarily. So I mean, if you pop over to my socials, you'll be able to see I kind of try to do like this grid, like checkerboard style, but my lifestyle images are quite different from my studio images, and it's I don't really have an answer for this. It's still a bit of an internal artistic battle for me because I really love both styles. So
Right.
yeah, I find it hard to give one of them up, so I do both.
Well, that's great. What is your handle on Instagram?
So it's at katie.lintern.photo.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I see that, like with the black and white and the color, and
yeah, it sort of breaks it up, and then I do. It's easier to mix them in that way. So yeah.
Cool. Let's see. I'm gonna share because that's super interesting. While we're waiting for people to join. Let's see.
Awesome.
So many windows.
Yeah, I've got. Oh yeah, I see now. I was gonna say I don't see the screen, but now I do. Yeah.
So yeah, that's super cool. And you almost like, I mean, that's really impressive because it doesn't strike me as like, oh, those are different. Those, I find when I do it myself, I have very solid backdrops in the studio, but then outdoors, obviously it's not. So there's a stark contrast. But very nice.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, it's this is not an effortless exercise. I definitely like I don't know, I suffer over my grid far too much. So yeah. I know there's lots of people in that camp as well. It's just like, how do I do this?
Yeah,
How do I present my work? Right? So.
And have you noticed? I'm not seeing it on on the webpage that they're all still square, but mine just changed to not being square anymore. They're like 4:5 ratio. Have you noticed that on your phone?
On the I'm gonna look right now.
So right, it just changed. Like yesterday is when I noticed it, and it bugs me.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a look. No, mine is still. I mean, I'm just looking at my own.
Still square? Huh.
Still square.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, we're gonna have to talk more about that later because that's I don't know what's going on. I even Googled it, like what is going on with Instagram?
Yeah, I'm the last person to ask, but yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share my screen again. on the APMPI group so we can see some of the images that people have shared for critique.
Perfect.
So let's see. That's this one, I think. Cool. All right. So we're just going to go, I think the beginning ones are at the bottom. Is that right? Oh, they're kind of, yeah.
They're kind of all over the place, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start at the bottom though. Might as well.
Okay.
All right. So
Perfect.
this is the first image here. So you can go ahead and give your critique.
Okay. Perfect. I did peek at a lot of these images beforehand, so I love this image. It's so beautiful. This baby is like absolutely precious. The styling is lovely. So like kudos to the maker. I know I see the name there, but Sandra. Beautiful styling. There's very little that I would critique this image on. The only thing that I can really see is maybe the bucket looks like just slightly like, how do I show this on screen? In just leaning in one direction. So I would just play with the framing just a touch. I really love those like leading lines, like the barn board kind of like fading off into the distance. Yeah, that would be like the only correction, but like the baby's face is beautifully lit. Yeah. And then of course for accreditation, you'll want to show the like straight out of camera just to show how, like the safety of the posing of this image. So like you want to have the parents kind of right there, or your assistant right there, to kind of like support baby's head. So
that's a really good point. Yeah, and I agree with what you said. I don't know if the lines fading out was achieved in camera or post, but it's done really well. So
it's
kudos.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I'll go ahead and go to the next one. So we have, okay, this is the same person. This is me, so I'm gonna skip it. I'm gonna try to get different people here.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we have this image of twins.
Beautiful, beautiful. I always say this anytime I see images of twins, I'm like, oh my God, twins are really hard. Yeah, this is a lovely image. Also, like if I ever have a baby walk into my studio with this much hair, it's just like, it feels like I won the lottery. So these are beautiful little girls. Yeah, not too much critique here from me. The only thing I might see, like that I would try to correct, is maybe on the left side of the image, it looks like this could be just a Facebook thing on my showing up on my screen, but it looks a little bit blown out just on the left side of the pocket that they're sitting in. Yeah.
And I'm noticing that on my screen, it's not as bright as it is on the screen share that I see on the
right. So it could just be the way that it's like rendering through the stream that we're doing. So yeah, if that's not blown out, then that's fine. And then it's totally personal preference here, but I get a little like picky with bumps in wraps or anything the baby is in. So I would actually like liquefy those little bumps on the edge. Just just pop them in a little bit and maybe like even out where you can sort of see the fabric, the text, like the bumps in the fabric coming through the pocket. Like it's not a safety thing. It's not a, it's just a very much of a personal styling and preference. But otherwise, like both the faces, this is a tricky thing to do with twins. Both the faces are lit really beautifully. So yeah, like well done.
And peaceful at the same time.
Yes, which is also hard to do with twins because sometimes one's awake and one's not, and vice versa. And good job.
No, I agree with what you said. Their faces are so sweet. One thing that I really love is that while the headbands, they appear to be the same headband, they're not placed on the babies exactly the same, which I like personally because twins, yes, these ones look pretty identical, but then also like they are unique people, and so to have it be just slightly different is nice. So and then just, I see a tiny little pucker there in the fabric, really easy fix. Overall it's really pretty. I love it.
Yep.
Cool. All right, let's I am going to click on mine because it's a maternity photo and I don't want to look like I'm avoiding critique, so
well, now I'm
give it to me.
I'm gonna just give it to you. Okay. I did look at this image and I love it. Like so beautiful lighting. Like for me, like to achieve that kind of lighting in studio is like, yes, it gets perfect. Um, so good job on that. Um, the only thing that kind of struck me as a little bit like caught my eye is I would maybe just shift the couple right into the center. I know mom is in more or less in the center, but I would
Mhm.
just shift them over a little bit so that the two of them are centered in that image. And then like she's wearing a really interesting dress. So this is not something I see often in maternity like image styling. Like I don't know if it's her dress or if it's your like client closet dress,
Mhm.
but because there's quite a lot of contrast with between the white and the purple. um I would maybe play with that a little more because her like she's straight onto the camera. So, and this might be tricky to do, but either like have those lines going straight down without hugging the belly,
Oh, fair. Yeah.
or yeah, or maybe do like a take that shot further out so you can actually see how the dress finishes at the
Follow
bottom.
the lines. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, to be
Cool.
able to follow those lines exactly. Yeah.
Thanks. Good.
Yeah.
Good points. And
Yeah.
yeah, as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, it isn't centered. It's funny how you don't see things until someone points it out, and then it's glaring.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we
Exactly.
ask
Yeah.
for critique, even if we've been doing this for a while.
That's exactly
Very
right. Yeah.
important. Let's
Yeah.
look for Michelle. Let's see. We'll pick this one.
Okay. This is so like I love the colors in here. I personally find it really difficult to like blend different colors in an image together. I'm very like monochromatic myself. So when I see an image where a variety of colors have been blended together well, like I'm like hats off to you. So I really like that. Um, the little bit of critique that I would have here is when you have an image that's like so perfectly centered. So the bowl is in the center. There's like a lot of kind of balance of all of these little floral elements. I would, and I don't know if this is I actually can't tell if this is a composite or if the baby was actually posed in this bowl, but I would potentially play with the positioning of the baby because you see that the body is sort of going sideways a little bit. So whether you can do that in post or do that while, like if baby's actually placed into the bowl, maybe just shift baby a little bit to be perfectly centered. Um, and then potentially the headband. So sometimes, and again, it depends on the type of baby that you get, right? If they're very wakeful, you just want to get it on, get the shot before they wake up. But I often will get that safety shot, just to get that shot done. And then I would shift that headband up a little bit and more like around the back of the ears. So it's not across baby's forehead, but more like up and around. That's just yeah, it tends to be a little bit more flattering. And then the floral on the headband doesn't jump out at you first.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a really good point. And
yeah,
sometimes the
yeah,
babies will wiggle and they'll scooch it up on the back of their head, and then it's like this. So that might
yes,
have happened here, or just might not have
absolutely.
gone on all the way.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's
another, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I was just say it's a patience game sometimes, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a matter of luck, right? It depends on the baby. Yeah.
Totally, totally. And I like what you said about the centering baby. If you're in the same exact like wrap, or just like doing a slightly different pose would be nice if they were more
Hmm.
curled up, kind of in a, I don't know, a more womb-like
Yeah.
position. I guess I can picture that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really pretty. I love the colors. I love
Hmm.
color.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. This is a different person.
Beautiful, beautiful image. Gorgeous baby.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I looked at this image as well and I was like, oh, this is so like just very peaceful and soft. So the lighting like is just so buttery and perfect, perfect. Um, yeah, very little to change in my view here or to adjust or to look out for other than again just the framing maybe. um, when you have barn board, those lines kind of like dictate, to me anyway, they dictate how you should frame that image. So maybe the only thing is just to be a little more intentional about like twisting the bucket or framing your baby along those barn boards because they're almost horizontal, but they're not quite. So that's kind of throwing me off a little bit. So I would just, again, just reframe that a little bit, just so those lines are perfectly horizontal. Or when you're taking the image, you can make them intentionally on an angle. Because when you have just a slight angle, it looks like it's off rather than, if it's a little more intentional. I think there's actually some kind of a rule, and I can't remember what it is, but there's like a certain amount of degrees where if like something's angled, then you see it as intentional. But if it's less than that, then it looks like it's just off.
Yeah, no, that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. And this is like, it's all subjective, right? But
Mm,
I tend to do the same, like either make them straight, or if they won't go
yeah.
straight, make them crooked on purpose. You know?
Yes. Yes.
So,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, because sometimes it is hard to get them perfectly straight just because you're like being mindful of the angle of the baby's face and the light and everything. And here, yeah, you
Yeah.
said, you could obviously like rotate the bucket maybe.
Hmm.
But even in post, if you notice, like this is, like basically a straight out of camera crop, you could crop it a little bit different to straighten those lines out or not. So yeah, good point.
Yeah. And I find that with Photoshop now, if you have, Gen fill, like the generative AI fill,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much more forgiving now these days. Because if it's
Yes.
tightly cropped, because this is a fairly tight crop on baby and the bucket, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to lose anything around the frame, it will fill that in for you if you just rotate it just slightly. It will fill in those barn boards and like the out of focus drop
The
underneath the
burlap.
bucket and yeah, the
Yeah, yeah.
texture, stuff like that. So yeah, very easy to adjust that.
Wonderful. I think that was 5, but we can keep going if you're up for it.
Let's go. I think my kids are
Okay.
not home yet, so
Okay, cool. We've got Harry
perfect.
Potter here.
Amazing. Yeah. I looked at this image and this is I love seeing images that are not something that I typically would do because I am terrible at doing props and like accessories and themes. I just learned that about myself over the years and I'm just like I can't do that. Other people do that so well. So really good job on incorporating the theme without being too overpowering because I think that sometimes the theme can really run away with itself and overpower baby. And I really love this image because my eyes still went to the baby's face. And like a good choice
Perhaps
of
it's the
that,
expression.
the expression, I was just gonna say good choice of image, because if it was just, baby sleeping, it might not have been quite as, striking. But I really
Mm-hmm.
love that, he's yawning. I'm assuming it's a he. Yeah. So yeah, really good job and nicely balanced, like the colors. Yeah, again, the theme is not too overpowering, but it's still really clear. Um, yeah, I don't know if I would change too much within this image. If only one thing, it would be maybe if there was a way to like the owl and I don't know Harry Potter very well. Is that a broom? Is it a
Yeah, it's a broom.
like I vaguely know. Um, so if there was some way to like bring baby slightly more toward the camera and those props a little further back so that they fall just slightly out of focus and baby a little bit more kind of in focus, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And again,
yeah.
that's yeah, just to like you can still like communicate the theme, uh, but again, pull even more of the viewer's eye to the baby. Although again, I still think the maker did a really good job here of doing that.
It's super cute.
So,
I wonder how it
yeah.
would be if the owl and the broom were on the same plane as the pumpkins, like if they were off to the side and then
Yeah.
if that's a bowl. Or another
Yeah.
way you could do that is like just put something else under a baby to lift him up. Um,
Mhm,
but yeah, I
mhm.
like that. That's a good point. I love the
Yeah,
colors. Again, I love colors, so it's so beautiful.
yeah.
I am noticing the highlights seem to be a little bit blown out. Like I think the things, I don't know what the things on the broom are called,
On
but
the broom. Yeah.
I think they're supposed to be silver. They're either silver or
Mhm.
gold, but they look white to me here. So that's just an
Yeah.
indication that
Might
it
have
might
like
be a little bit
reflected the
blown out. Yeah,
yeah,
if they're reflective, then certainly that's
yeah.
a thing.
And the other
But
thing I
yeah, it's so
noticed with
cute with
that
the
is
glasses.
that yeah, like the owl, the owl is bright white. And so I
Hmm.
actually noticed that the choice of placing the owl furthest from the light was actually a good one, because if it was on the other side,
Yes.
it would have been completely blown out. So
Yes. Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely. So all in
yeah,
all,
no,
very
good
good.
job.
I like that you can read Nimbus 2001. I think it's 2001. Like I
Oh,
can
that's
read that.
awesome.
That's awesome. I
Amazing.
was like, oh, why didn't I do that with my kids? My kids are big Harry Potter fans now. Obviously, they weren't the day they were born,
Yeah.
but
It's okay. You can impose these things on your children when they're babies.
yeah,
Yeah.
we were all like, I don't know, doing other stuff, I guess, but it's so great.
Yeah.
All right, let's I guess we'll just do one last one. Save
Sure.
some for
Yep.
next week. So we've
Perfect.
got the.
Yep.
Oh wait, is this the same maker? I mean, it's a different. Okay, no,
Um,
maybe not. No.
yeah, different. Yeah. Um, I looked at this image, and I was the first thing that struck me was, like, again, the lighting, and that backdrop is so beautiful, like really nice. Like the color is beautiful. It's very consistent. And again, nice styling. Like it's a good match in terms of like the color of the light, the dress that she's wearing. Beautiful mom. Um,
Hmm.
One suggestion that I would do here is just work a little bit on the posing. Um, so beautiful mom, but I would just straight on. I find with maternity, it's a little tricky to make those poses flattering. Um, so I would actually angle her just a little bit, and um, it is hard sometimes with moms, especially, to convey these things to them. But sometimes when you lift their leg, like the one leg on the tippy toe, if it's not angled quite the right way, it almost looks like she's got to go to the bathroom, and she's just waiting for you to finish taking the shot. Um,
Hmm.
so one way to avoid that, again, is just to angle her slightly, maybe like almost 45 degrees to the camera. And I don't know if I can demonstrate this, but like when you coach her to lift her leg or on the tippy toe, sometimes the tendency is to just like roll on the outside of the pinky toe.
Hmm.
And again, like she can cross her knee over, but you want her to like be on the big toe. Um, Again, so I think just the posing needs to be worked on just a touch. That would be my advice here. But otherwise, really beautiful, well lit image. Like obviously Priscilla knows how to
Yeah.
work lighting, and yeah, yeah.
I love all the highlights. Like she's definitely
Mhm.
glowing, and it's a combination of the dress. It looks like maybe it's got some shimmer to it, but then just
Yeah.
how the light hits her arms,
Yes,
especially
there's
the
nice rim
one on the
lighting.
right
Yeah.
side of the screen. And I love the facial expression. I feel like just this intense stare is very powerful, and so. And it's not something I do a lot. It's not something I see a lot. It's usually a lot of like smiles and more soft look, but that just looks
Yeah.
like strong mom, which I love. I
Yes.
do like to add straight to the camera shots for maternity because I think it adds variety to galleries. I do a lot of 90 degrees to the camera, 45, because like you
Yeah.
said, like it does tend to be more flattering. But one thing that
Yeah.
I found for straight on is instead of having legs kind of more apart like that, to put one almost like cross their ankles or like put one foot
Yes.
directly in front of the other. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think like, and it just
Oh,
brings
yeah. Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. It
So
just kind of
just different
gives you
things
that
to try.
hourglass. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But this
Yeah.
is
The different.
gorgeous. I love the colors. Yeah.
Yeah. And
You see
one
a
more
photo
tip
you
I
can
was
just
going to
stare
ask.
at.
Sorry, I was going to say one more tip with that on
Mhm.
that leg, and I just remembered it. The same leg where the foot, like if the foot is in front on the tippy toe, I would suggest that like you ask mom to lift that hip, so she's almost like she can still be straight on, like you said, but
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
that same tippy toe leg, that hip comes up a little bit, it like accentuates that
Gives a
like
little more curve.
curve.
Mhm.
Yes. So she
Yeah.
looks like she's curving kind of in the opposite direction here. And
Right.
if you shift her pelvis to the other side, I think that could be quite nice.
Oh,
So
cool.
again, just playing with the posing a little bit more here, I think might be something to work on. But otherwise, like again, beautifully lit image, beautiful colors. Yeah, really nice, like nice expression. So yeah. Good job.
Awesome. Cool. All right, so I think we'll stop there, and we did quite a few. These other ones, I know we have. I think next Friday is our next critique. So you can keep submitting images, so that we have more to choose from. We have a few critiques coming up, and yeah, so that's all for today. Thanks everyone.
Okay.
Katie.
Thank you.
All right.